Hi guys, and welcome back to Ramo Repair. This is our next job right here. This is the old Snapper, and it has the Briggs and Stratton Venerable 550EX. That's 5.5 gross torque, not horsepower. 140cc Briggs is what we got here. And if you're wondering about the model of this sweetheart, well, that information is right there. You can take a look at that, pause it if you need to, but that's what we got here. And this thing's in pretty rough shape. We have a handlebar that is not very well connected. We got bolts that are loose everywhere, and the handles are just a little bit floppy, as you can see. None of the wheels are very straight. This one goes fairly straight, that one goes fairly straight. This one looks like an elephant set on it, and so is the back one. So apparently she's had a pretty heavy load in the rear end at some point. I don't know if our cables are doing very good, and also when you roll this thing forward, it rolls. When you roll it back, the front wheels lock up. So we got something going on in our final drive, and I don't know why this was tossed out. This is another trash kind of find. We have big trash item days, and I picked this up alongside the road where it's put out just for trash. So first of all, let's see if we can get it running, and then we'll venture on down the road to see what else is wrong with this thing. I'm going to flip it over on its side and check the condition of the crankshaft and blade first, just to see if we have anything working on here. Alrighty, we're going to unplug the spark plug wire for all the internet warriors. Oh man, that one's stuck. Hadn't been off on it. There we go. This is Oliver. He's my grandson. He's helping me out today, aren't you, Oliver? Yep. A little camera shy, but he's all right. We'll get you put in a stand here, and then we're going to check and make sure this crankshaft is fairly straight by just feeling the blade. So this one here is just above the surface, or below the surface, I should say. And this is pretty close too, so I think we're okay. And yeah, we got the drive belt down in there, and all that stuff's good. And then flip this baby back over, and we'll see if we can make it run. Alrighty, first of all, we're going to check the oil on this thing to see if it has any at all. And it does have some, but we just had it flipped up on its side, so we're not sure how much. But there is some in there, so I think it's going to be safe to go ahead and see if we can start this sweetheart up. Alright, and we'll give this thing a few tugs on the rope and see if she'll fire up. There is no choke and there is no throttle, so what you get is what you get. And we have absolutely no signs of life, so we're going to, oh wait, Matt, I had the spark plug unplugged. Gee whiz. All right, now let's try it again. Should have a good prime on it if nothing else. Well, we got the same result after plugging the spark plug wire back in. So I think first thing we need to do is check and make sure we have spark. And we do have a little bit of compression. I can feel it when I'm pulling it over. Then we'll go into the carburetor and see what the heck is going on with it. All right, we're going to go ahead and pull the spark plug out of this. And we'll check our spark and see what we got. Well, really, it just doesn't look too bad. So we'll see if we got any sparkles in it. And then we'll move on to carburetor if that's what's necessary. She does have... All right, let's go ahead and check for spark right here at the spark plug. All right, that's what we have in the carburetor section of this thing. We got a tiny bit of spark. Not enough to make me very happy, but we got a tiny bit, and that's a nice used air filter. This is one of these with a plastic carb. So 2 screws and 2 screws, and the screws are not the same, because that would be just way too easy. Those are the 2 bigger ones. And then, don't remember if it's a 7. Yep, it's a 7. The big ones are 8s, the little ones are 7s. Get our air box out of the way. Man, I should have left that shroud off. I reckon I want to take the top shroud back off. We're going to crimp off our fuel line. If you don't like fuel lines being crimped off, just look the other way for a minute. Get that clamp out of the way. Slide the fuel hose off, maybe. There we go. I'll bet this is a water in the fuel issue. Just got a feeling. Easily slide that off there. We'll work our choke linkage up and off there. And then we'll do the same for our throttle linkage, governor linkage. There we go. Alrighty, let's see what we got in here. First of all, not much coming out. Seems like gas. Let's go ahead and pop these two little screws out of the bottom and see what all else is in here. Take those two little sweethearts out. Then we'll get something to pop this bowl off with. I think I need something a little wider. That's not working. That's kind of working. Yep, they always come off kind of tough. There we go. Once they pop, she pops. You know, I was expecting to find a bunch of water in here. Still smells like really bad gas, though. Let's go ahead and pop our little jetty thingy out of here. Get some carb cleaner and see if all the passages are clean. Well, we got some coming out there for sure. But if we spray in here, do we have any coming out elsewhere? Yep, comes out both places. So we know that's clean, or at least fairly clean. Still looks like some water up in there. Give it a little shake. Something is not aligning properly. I think this must go this way. Yep. Yeah. That's back in. We'll test our float real quick. Yep, it works. All right, I'm going to spray this thing off and get this thing back together. I think we had some water in it, but that's about it. All righty, get these tightened back up. Looks pretty good. And then our throttle. Yeah, everything's kind of working. I'd really like to dog on these plastic carburetors, but you know, they just seem to work. There's absolutely no adjustment to them, so don't be thinking there's something wonderful. It either runs or it don't, and that's all the adjustment you got is none. Hey, you know what? Right there's some of that water we were looking for. Little bubbles of water. Probably shouldn't have used the pig mat because a lot of times you can see water better without them because they kind of soak up everything. All right, well, we'll put the carburetor back on and then we'll wander off to the next thing. Alrighty, we'll put our governor linkage on first. He goes closest to the motor, to the engine. And then our choke linkage, he goes on the arm farthest from the engine. This whole thing kind of comes down around, goes on there, and just shoves on. That's it. I am going to drain the fuel out of this tank. Looks like I could probably just pop the tank off here. Oh, look at that. That's pretty good. All right, I got the fuel tank drained. Get our fuel hose put back on our carburetor here, and our clamp. There, clamp's back on, fuel line's back on. That'll make it way easier when we start putting the cap here on. It'll be much easier to see what's going on. Put in our crankcase vent here. Then we'll put some screws back in this cover. Remember, there's 2 big ones and 2 little ones. The little ones screw into the carburetor. The big ones go to the bracket or the housing, and the housing is actually what holds the carburetor on. Maybe I should go ahead and start this one too, before I start whiz banging too hard on it. Okay, carburetor's reinstalled. And our choke is currently setting closed just like it should be. And as it warms up, this arm gets pushed this way and it turns the choke off. That relies on heat to make it move. You can see we got compression. You know, I wonder if they whacked something. I wonder if they whacked something with this and partially sheared this flywheel key. I think that's worth checking on the way by. And we already have an impact out with the right size socket on it, so let's check that real quick and make sure that it's okay. I think we can see it if we just take the nut off. It must be, oh yeah, we're on low setting. Turn this around here. Our key is still setting in the groove both in the flywheel and the shaft, so that's simply not the case. This thing is in good shape there. Get rid of some of the crud out of there. Get that square support thing back in there. Get our nut put back on. Turn up the horsepower. And there we go. Put some fuel in this thing, some fresh fuel, and then we'll see if it'll actually start or not. That's probably enough to see if she'll run. Put our recoil / shroud cover back on. There we go. Alrighty, let's see if this sweetheart will start. That's good. That's good. See if it'll restart. This is always tough on these automatic choke ones. Awesome. That is fantastic. Yep, that makes me happy. Sweetheart actually runs. Now it's worth actually doing something too. We can change the oil on it. We got to figure out what's going on with our drive because it just will not roll backwards. So let's pop this cover off this sweetheart and see what all's under here. I think the screws probably come in from the bottom to this cover. Now there's one right here and one over there. Let's take the 2 of those out and see if we get any more slack. It looks like they're a 10. Something's still holding it. So let's flip it up and see if there's any screws underneath there. There's some screws right in here. right there, and probably the same thing on the bottom. So let's get those out, and we'll see what we got then. Awesome. It even holds that up. Well, there's the inner workings of this. Yeah, I think what's going on here is this is seized in here. These are supposed to be able to allow to turn around the axles. If you look at that side, that part's moving with the axle. If you look at this side, over here, it's not moving with the axle. So I think this is seized up. All right, see if we can get our hubcap off. Get it up off the ground a bit. Ooh, look at that. It's got a ratchet in it even. This thing is fairly uptown. There we go. She's a toughie, but we were tougher. All right. That off. I guess that pin just slides back and forth to ratchet. Isn't that interesting? I'm used to Honda power equipment. It's quite a bit different than this stuff. Of course, Honda is no longer making. They're going to discontinue making Walk Behind Mowers. All right. Let me get more. Another thing's wrong. See what third. Why is it these you can get over it. You don't make it. That's me. You sure get around. You're right. Get up. Set it up. Hey. We want to get it. What we got going on here is this piece needs to expand, and it can't expand because it's sitting in this hole inside this metal plate. Probably the heaviest piece of metal in the whole dadgum mower. Let me get my pry bar back in action. We haven't broke it yet, but man, we're sure trying. Believe me. Ah, look at that! Hot dog! Should come off. Now I think this is a part that's not supposed to be stuck to our axle. I think it's supposed to be allowed to spin. So what I want to do is I want to come in here behind here and see if I can tap this off a little bit. Because it seems like it ought to tap off. I think it's going. Oh yeah, there it went. Just another piece of plastic. But it was hung up on there. All right, this is what I'm seeing. This is really, really rough down in here. And that bushing thingy was right here. So apparently some grass juice and water and stuff I got in there and rusted that baby up. So we're gonna have to get this out of here and clean all this up right here. Once we get it cleaned up, then it'll slide right through there. This is pretty cruddy, so I want to start this off. There, that's better. See if we're still in frame here. Start this off by just running a sanding pad over it. Is that different throttles? Nope. I think that's pretty good, except for the pitting. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit of dry lube on here because I know grease is just gonna attract grass and everything else. But I'll put some of this stuff on there. And it dries and just kind of leaves a little bit of lithium grease behind. Then this piece should slide on here and, oh yeah, look at that. Goodness gracious. That's like a totally different situation. And then we're gonna slide this thing back together and then install it all at once through the other piece. I think that'll work. A little suspect in the building department. There's a couple of grooves back here. See if I can get you to see them. That this fits down into. These go down in those little groove holes. So I'm going to put those in there. See if this fits in here better now. It should fit on back onto there. Oh, that makes me happy. Kind of like that. I think this whole axle can move a little bit sideways. And I think this pin, this drive pin, I'm gonna give it a little bit of the same looby-dooby. Can go in there. This can go on here. Why doesn't that want to ratchet? It's in the wrong way. Does it make a difference? This pin has a groove on one side. Yes, apparently it makes a difference. All right, we got the other side laid back together. Let's go ahead and put our wheel on. Give us another shot of dry lube. And I'm going to pull the lever and we're going to see if this transmission moves or not, like it's supposed to. Yeah, that might work. Pleasantly surprised. Now there's a screw that goes down here and another one that goes over here. We're going to put those in first because they're on the top. That's the only two on the top, I think. And see if this thing will still start, and then see if the drive works. Because that'll be pretty good if it does. I'm pretty happy with that. Starter first pull, and these wheels do pull. So that's two good things. We need to straighten the back wheels. Yeah, he's just bent a crud. Let's unbend him by bending it. Let's see, is that fairly level? Yeah, I think we need to come back this way a bit. Yeah, they bend that easy. Let's slide our wheel back on and see what that looks like. Hey, that ain't bad. Yeah, that'll do. Alrighty. We know it runs. We've got self-propel working. We got all the tires pointing about the same direction. There's a couple of things we need to do yet. We need to get an air filter for this thing. We need to change the oil on it. We need to sharpen the blade on it. And we need to get the handlebars so they're not quite so floppy. All right. So let's take this off and figure out what the heck is going on here. Oh, it's in backwards. This has got a square shoulder on it. It needs to go in this way and grab into that. Oh, this is going to be way better, I can tell you right now. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. And of course, this one right here, it's backwards too. I've got some not as good of threads right there. Well, booger threads is it's kind of like nature's Loctite. Oh yeah, that takes a lot of flop out of them. I think we're pretty good. And this takes a different bolt with a little square nut that slides in here. I'm going to go out back and look in the pile and see if I can find one of those. Because this screwdriver here, it doesn't go with the mower. It's mine. So we're going to see if we got the piece to go in there. Alrighty, remember when you put your blade back on, the wings go up. I'll put a torque wrench on that later. Oh man, it fell into oil after all. Whoa, I almost run her over. The little tube don't take oil very fast. I think we'll stop there. Flavor of the day is the Honda GN4. I have that around for motorcycles, and I figure if it's good enough for motorcycles, it's darn sure good enough for a lawnmower. Oh yeah, we are way over full. Hey, let's try a cold start after it's been laid on its side forever. Well, I gotta tell you, I don't think that's too bad. Alrighty guys, let's do a little bit of recap on this snapper mower. This has the Briggs 650EX series engine on it. We've been working on a few of those recently. I told you at the end of these videos, we're going to go over and talk about what it costs to repair this thing. I got a new air filter for it. That was $4.50. It comes two for $8.50, so we're charging half of it to this mower. That, we probably have a couple of dollars worth of oil we put in this sweetheart. And outside of that, we really don't have much money in it at all. We had to fix the drive system. It had a seized little pulley or bearing in there. That's taken care of. I do need to get a bolt for the handlebar. One bolt. I'm not too particular, but that one bolt from the manufacturer of this sweetheart is $9. I'm not willing to spend $9 on it. What I'm going to do is I'll find another bolt that'll work in there. These are kind of special bolts. But I'll find another one of these or a different one and I'll put it in over there. So I'll be in that for maybe 50 cents or a buck. So we got $4, a couple bucks. Really, we're under 10 bucks on fixing this thing. And I just don't think that's too bad. Now, it desperately needed an oil change. I think the drive system is probably what did this thing's final doom, is that wouldn't work because it was seized up. And that's probably why it got parked. Nobody wants to push a mower anymore. Are you kidding? Anyway, that's what we got. And don't worry about the smoke that just happened there. This is probably from being on its side. And I'll let it sit outside and run for a while. Then we'll do another start on it. Make sure it's all good and ready to roll. But that's pretty much it for this one. Thanks for watching. And as always, man, God bless. Stick around for the next one.